Whenever the control returns from a function, some value is definitely returned. So whenever control returns from a function means the program goes to that function. That means it returns from a function. Some value is definitely returned. If a meaningful value is returned, then it should be accepted in a calling program. So it should be accepted in a calling program. By equating called function to some variable, for example, sum is equal to calcium a comma b comma c. So we are equating uh, called function to some variable. For example, sum is a variable here and calcium is a called function. So it is returned to that original value. That means sum is equal to output of calcium. So here it is written in program to a variable. So if a value of output of calcium is meaningful value, then it is stored in program. That means it is stored as sum. Now G, all following are valid return statements. So these are few valid return statements. First is return A, now return 23, return 12.34, now return. So in the last statement, a garbage value is returned to calling function since we are not returning any specific value. Note that in this case the parentheses after return are dropped. So in this statement a garbage value is returned to calling function. So it is returned to calling function since we are not returning any specific value. Note that in this case the parentheses after return are always dropped. So that means since we are so parentheses are required after that return function. If we want that a call function should not return any value, in that case we must mention so by using keyword void. So if we want that a call function should not return any value, in that case we must mention so we are here mentioning that void display. Now printf slash n head n, that means on a next line slash n heads t heads I win, printf slash n tells you lose. So if we want that a call function should not return any value, so we don't want that call function to return any value, in this case we must mention so by using a keyword void. So here we don't want that function to return to any value, so we are mentioning this with void, that is void display. First, a function can return only one value at a time, thus the following statements are invalid. So it can return to only one value at a time, so these statements are invalid. First is return a comma b, now return x comma 12, so these statements are invalid. If the formal argument is changed in the called function, the corresponding change does not take place in calling function. For example, so if formal argument is changed in the call function, the corresponding change does not take place in the calling function. For example, main. Now int a is equal to 30. That means a is an integer and its value is 30. Now fun, that is function a, function for a, printf slash n percent d. So slash n is for next line, percent d is for integer, comma a. So a is an integer. Now bracket close, fun, that is function int b. So b is an integer, so b is a different integer, b is equal to 60. Printf slash n is for next line, percent d, comma b, so printf b. So the output of above program would be 60 and 30. So first it is written as 60 and then it is 30. So if the formal argument is changed in the called function, so if formal argument is changed means formal argument was a is changed in call function, the corresponding change does not take place in calling function. This means that when values are passed to called function, the values present in actual argument are not physically moved to formal arguments. Just a photocopy of values in actual argument is made into formal arguments. So values are not physically moved. The photocopy of values in actual argument is moved.